Hi, I'm Lisa Eddy, your host of the Sacred Beauty Lifestyle Podcast. I'm so glad that you've made your way here and that I'm now sharing these podcasts here on YouTube. In my 25 years in the beauty industry, I have worked with thousands of women. I have witnessed so many beautiful, powerful, smart, and kind women who are hiding instead of shining. My mission is to empower you to own your true power and beauty inside and out, to be truly confident and shine through your skin. Lord knows the world needs your light. I'm committed to helping you understand the choices that you are making that are working for or against you. I'll also be sharing beauty tips and tools your mother never taught you, and together we will bust urban beauty myths. Make sure to subscribe today to receive episodes right when they are released. For those who prefer listening to the audio podcast, head over to sacredbeautylifestyle.com. That's sacredbeautylifestyle.com, and you can find the platform of your choice. Enjoy. Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Sacred Beauty Lifestyle Podcast. Today, I have Heidi Fossali with me to share with you, and I'm super excited. Heidi is a life reboot coach, having studied beauty and makeup and fashion and personal training, fitness and nutrition. She is the full package. Heidi believes if you don't dip into what your intuition is screaming about, your heart is yearning for, or your head is contemplating, how will you ever find your purpose? How will you even touch the shirt tails of your dreams? You need to take a giant leap and be ready to soar. Without further ado, let me introduce the lovely Heidi Fossali. Welcome, beauty.
Oh, hi. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you.
I know it is time. It is our time. And I'm super excited to delve into this because you share so many, or we share so many of the same beliefs, and you share a lot of the philosophies that I highlight and teach here at the Sacred Beauty Lifestyle. With all of the similarities we have, it's a no-brainer. So
Love it. Such synergy. I love it.
seriously, I wonder if you can tell us a little bit about you and your story and how you got where you are today.
Yeah, the sort of the skill set has always been an inbuilt thing. I've always been, I remember playing with dolls and hair and makeup and, dress up. So there's always that sort of thread in me always. So it wasn't rocket science that I would go into that industry. So started off in skin spa treatments. I went to beauty college, traveled a lot, worked, traveled, studied, and then went to fashion college, added that to my bow. After that, I added personal training because always been a total fitness fiend, always sporty at school, and then got into the gym and whatever that, all that scene, and loved it when I was living in London. So it kept adding these sort of strings to my bow. So started with, the sort of aesthetic, then went into fashion, did a sort of a 2 year fashion retail, more buying, merchandising, loved that, had done some modeling on the way, and then personal training, like I said, got my certification in London, then traveled, backpacked around the world for a year, worked in the south of France, met the man I was going to marry. He was my boyfriend, and time passed. We finally got back together again. He was living in LA at the time, so I moved to LA, and that's where we set up house. Had my two beautiful daughters there. We were living in a small house in Malibu, which brought an amazing lifestyle. And I was doing personal training. I got my certification in the US as well. So it was beautiful. I was sort of threading it through being a mother and, trying to keep my independence and just having a full social angle to it all as well. And then we moved back to Europe, and it was about sort of the two phases to my life. One was significantly dramatic, which was the divorce that I have with my husband, which was difficult, but it brought on the reinvention. That was about 15 years ago. And then the second phase of my reinvention, I would call it reboot, reinvent, refresh, whatever the revamp, was about 6 years ago. So there was always a Heidi that was sort of aesthetically driven, and I was always into like I said, fashion and beauty and fitness. And then I got introduced to life coaching. And that's 6 years ago, opened up a whole new Heidi. So that's phase two. So realize that it's an inside job. So created after studying, getting my certification after a full 12 months in London studying, I created a full life reboot consultancy basically. So it was an inside and outside job. And this has given me what I have today, which is this, one-stop shop, 8 steps, inside, outside. So now I feel totally qualified through life experience, through knowledge, through research that I've done to help other women who perhaps get to that crossroads in life. The light's green, but you kind of don't know which way to go. So it's sort of brought me to today and what I'm doing today. And it is absolutely my mission. And it truly is a mission. There are many of us feeling a little bit stuck in the middle. So I reboot.
Excuse me. That makes me think what you said when the light is green, but you're kind of feeling stuck or not being able to move forward. Was that your personal experience?
I didn't feel confused about knowing the road ahead. I felt probably trapped in a belief system, and I was in a marriage where I didn't feel as though I was going to reach my potential, and it was making me very frightened. I had already moved to France from America to be with my husband and had the children, and we decided to move back to Europe. So I was stuck I was dissatisfied with my relationship in a country where I didn't speak the language. 2 little girls, 10 and 8. So that was not feeling appreciated, feeling slightly invisible, feeling trapped. And yeah, that was a scary place. Yeah.
I bet. And those are the places that things are often born out of, right? The contrast gives us clarity.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I asked if that was your story, because usually as leaders, we have to go through the ringer ahead of y'all so that we can figure out
Yeah.
our magic that we have to share with the world to reach the hands of those.
Yeah. It's like the life you live, the lessons you teach, and that's, for me, that's really important because it's not as if I've got all the answers. I'm probably just a couple of stepping stones ahead of you, and I've got the flashlight, and I'm sort of saying, come, I think I know where I'm going. But, life skills and experience and knowledge, I don't have the golden ticket, but I absolutely know the steps to take to find your way, because the reality is you've got everything inside of you. You just need someone to trigger it and bring it out. And that's what I love to do.
100%. And it usually, not always, often though, does come from those challenging times.
Yeah.
You just,
Those
that's why I
messy bits.
asked.
Yeah. They're so
Right.
messy and you feel so vulnerable. And I was always so good at keeping it all shiny on the outside, like my parents always did. And, coming from a family where, belief systems were, grow where you're planted, keep coloring inside the lines, be normal. No one ever sort of inspired me to think that I could be anything extraordinary, or live anything but an ordinary life, which there was nothing wrong with that. I had a lovely family and upbringing, but I always felt as though there's something else. That's
Oh,
what
that's
triggered
so
it.
interesting. You hear people say that when they have like what would look like the perfect life or a beautiful life, but there's a yearning inside because it's like, sure, you might be living a dream, but it's somebody else's dream. Like,
And it's just, this is why I wanted some clarity, basically. And it's that foggy, dark void ahead, and it can come in any shape or form. It doesn't have to be something as dramatic as divorce. It could just be changing a job, or it could be, losing a partner and you suddenly find yourself alone. Alone is scary, especially when you get to the middle. You know what I mean? It's fine. It's sort of reconnecting with, your strengths and passions, because you forget, it's re-energizing that body that you've sort of neglected. And then it's sort of reconnecting with sort of deciding how you want to live, look, and, be in this second half of your life. It's Big questions.
Right. And I heard you say you forget, and it makes me curious. Are you speaking about something that women often go through? Women sometimes can push their own needs aside or take on others' beliefs or imprints, like we often do from our family or sometimes our partners, like, okay, I'm going to move here and this is what I'm going to do right now. And then we hide our own desires because it's not time to bring them into fruition, or we don't know how we can, or it doesn't fit the plan that was laid
Yeah.
out.
Yeah. It's that blueprint, it's you get stuck in your BS, and belief systems is the BS. I know.
That's awesome.
I know. And it's the way it's always been done. You assimilate your beliefs, they're given to you. You don't always choose them. And I think sometimes when you get to the middle, you need to just have a little reflect on your belief systems, security and systems, and is safety when you're having children, perhaps, or when you're building a business, if that's what you're doing. Suddenly, when, you get to the middle, maybe curiosity and adventure are those beliefs that you kind of want to swap in, because it's you do beliefs are you just have to be aware of your beliefs, and you can change them. They don't have to always be written in stone. And that was a big one for me, because I had been given a set of beliefs that almost were a straitjacket and were making me unhappy because of the circumstances that I was in. And that's one of the major things that I do with when I'm working with my private clients. I just say, what are your values and beliefs? Because those beliefs could keep you in your comfort zone as well. And then sometimes you can miss that curve. Belief systems are
Uh,
very powerful.
I love that you call it BS, because, like, who says, right? Let's examine this. And I heard
Yes.
you talk about curiosity. So for those of you listening right now who might be feeling a little tug on your heart that, yeah, I'm feeling like I'm not living the life that I'm supposed to be living, or I don't know if I don't even know what I believe anymore. You're feeling confused. I think this is the perfect opportunity to implement what Heidi is sharing right here and examine, what are my values and what are my beliefs? Is that what you just
Mhm.
shared?
For sure, for
I just
sure.
wanted to highlight that and
Yeah.
maybe journal on this. Is that what you would suggest?
Yes, it's reflecting on them, and just looking at them. Is there a belief or a value that you want to leave behind and take another one? Because you really can.
Like something you've outgrown. Like, is this the
Yeah,
new me? Because we're evolving all the time, right? It's almost a great thing to do at New Year's. Like, who am I now?
yeah. You don't need permission either, because that's the other thing. We women sometimes get stuck in that um, asking for permission, and that's that's just again a belief. It's a belief. I mean, your values are important too. Valuing family, valuing honesty, valuing commitment. There are good values, but what other people believe doesn't matter. It's what you believe to be true.
Oh, and we
You know,
need so much more room for that today. There can be this really, like, I feel like the pendulum has swung, and there are these really strong opposing beliefs that can really turn into arguments. And I think that what is really important is just allowing everyone to be where they are and who they are. And you brought in a couple of things I want to highlight that are really important. And one of them is permission. Permission. Women often ask permission. Men don't ask permission.
what is that?
I have
Why?
made a commitment to myself that I no longer ask for permission or acceptance. And I don't mean, you hear that question these days that people go, would you rather ask for forgiveness or permission? Well, I don't want to be inconsiderate. So it's not like I'm going to do something that's going to affect somebody else and just be like, well, uh, you know, sorry, like ask for forgiveness. No, I'm not talking about being a jerk. Let's be thoughtful and conscious here, because I've had that experience with a neighbor hanging something that totally obstructed my view, and it would have been like, it would have been nice if you would have like had this conversation with me.
Yeah, 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 yeah. So,
Right.
so,
So
so true. Yeah.
when I say permission, I mean permission to be you.
Yes, you deserve it. I mean, sometimes it's the feeling that, oh no, not me. I'm way down the to-do list. It's saying, ladies, you are important. You are valuable. You are not invisible. Again, that's one of these are the major things that, and also I don't want people to settle. Women tend to settle, the comfort zone. Change is so scary. You know, sometimes things, staying in your unhappy is an easier decision to make than actually the sort of the insecurity and the unknown, which is change. So, and also the other thing that I find with clients is that they get stuck in the story of their past. This is who I am. This is my story. It's my identity. And, so I unpack that, who are you? What are your qualities? What are your I ams, outside of a mother, sister, brother, friend, unpacking the who is the foundation, because you do lose touch with your who, you forget who you were. And it's not comparing yourself. And again, you go into victim, you go into sort of inner critic when you compare yourself to who you were last week. Oh, I'm nobody. But you go back in time and you connect with who you were and you see the journey you've taken. That's the value. That's the beauty, when you can see how far you've come. So when you do reflect and I do ask that question, you have to go back to the beginning and unpack it and share it with me and share your brilliance, because you are brilliant and beautiful, but you just forgotten. So it's reconnecting or discovering or uncovering. These are the words that I use a lot, because women we're compassionate souls. We're givers. We bring people together, and we're sort of the nest for the family, for friends.
Right.
And that does take away a little bit of, oh, wow,
When you're caring for others, or
Yeah,
like you can
which is a good
sometimes.
thing. Yeah. And there are times in life for that. We're both parents, we both got
Yes.
children, haven't we?
Yes.
So it's not as if, it's my favorite job in the whole world. It's my favorite thing. And, that comes to sort of skills and strengths. Your skills and strengths they were God given. They will always be, but how you use them in your life changes, but they're always the same. So again, I like to unpack, what are you good at? What makes your heart sing? What would you do? And when you do it, you lose track of time. What would your friends come to you for? Those are the things that are special.
These are great questions. If you're curious about, like, who are you? Who am I now? And there's two different pieces I'm hearing you say. And I want to highlight that when we are on the evolutionary journey, when we are really committed to our growth, we do shift quite a bit. And so this is really good to revisit. I do at birthdays, at New Year's, I celebrate all the New Year's I can celebrate, every every one of them,
You
whether it's a
start,
Jewish.
yes.
And so there are a couple of things, though, I heard you say that, there's a thread of this innate, like, who you are. And so there's also these pieces that could have been shut off, right, from when we were a child or a teenager, or even in our 20s or what have you, where something happened and then we got squashed. Like maybe we put ourselves out there in a vulnerable position and somebody judged your art or your dance or your creativity or whatever it
Yeah,
was, and you shut that piece down, right?
sure.
Or maybe you never explored it.
Yeah.
Maybe
See,
you never
that's
even took these classes. I just started getting into art. I didn't know I was an artist and a poet, but this is some of the gifts I've received from COVID.
this is the bit. This is the great, and this lights people up. It's my favorite bit, step one in my in my 8 steps, because once you realize, because you forget, we all forget. I used to love roller skating. Oh my god, I used to love baking. Oh my gosh, back in the day, I did ballet. And I'll be like, why?
Right.
I used to love cooking, people will say, or I used to play the drums. I was speaking to my client last night, and I was asking her these questions. I said, drums? She's like, African drums. I said, and she said, I used to love to dance. I'm like, oh my gosh, and she's sitting there lost and just feeling, unfulfilled. And I'm like, just tap back into those things and be curious and courageous, because curiosity, to try new things, big, 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 join a group, join a gym, join a book club, join that salsa class, but you've got to be courageous, because you kind of missing that confidence sometimes, so push yourself. So be curious to find, because it could be you take that path, it could end up being signposted your purpose. Because if you find a passion, and you mix it with a strength, equals purpose. So curiosity, courage. And then the third stake in the ground for me is always have that desire to learn, keep learning. That
Yeah,
could be a language,
100%.
that could be a musical instrument. It could be, so those are the ones that I find are sort of the stakes in the ground: curiosity, courage, and the desire to keep learning. That will keep
Mm.
you engaged and feeling more fulfilled, to be honest.
Right. And vivacious and, you know, you,
Enthusiastic,
yes, and youthful and playful and all of these things.
sexy.
Sexy. Let's talk about that, because
Let's talk
like
about
that
that.
doesn't that
Because
doesn't
let's
mean
be honest, you forget you're female. That inner goddess is slightly dampened and not watered, put it that way.
often if you're not doing these things that we're speaking about, if you're not taking new classes, if you're not like, it's funny that you mentioned dance class. I took a salsa class. I've been talking about taking Cuban salsa for so long, and I met a new girlfriend, and we went to a dance class locally Friday night, and I'm like, I'm doing
Oh,
salsa right now. And
oh,
we're gonna look at a tango class. I never even thought I
oh,
wanted to take tango, but one of my Brazilian girlfriends,
there
I take samba. I'm a samba dancer. So one of my Brazilian girlfriends and has been inviting me to all these different classes. She's like, Lisa, come to tango. I never thought I would
you go.
do it, but it
Yeah,
challenges your body and you move in a
so
new way. And I'm like, okay, I never thought I would
sexy.
do tango, but I'm gonna take it too. Maybe I'll go to Argentina. Right?
You remember in Moulin Rouge, Roxanne, when she's doing that tango? Oh my God.
I love that movie.
But even a friend of mine started line dancing. And suddenly she was the cowgirl with the cowboy. And it was so sexy, kicking her heels and tipping her hat. She got sexy.
Because you're in your body, you're like that, it's really like you're super present when you dance. You can't
Yes.
be thinking about other things or stressing, but really embodying your full self.
Yes.
That is sexy. And I really love that sexy came up, because I know that you lived in France for a while, and you know we in America talk about how the European women in general are, especially like French or Italian, are so much more comfortable in their skin. And the culture is so much more comfortable with the aging process
Yeah.
than we are here. And we have this horrific idea that women are thrown away at a certain age in our culture. And I feel there's a shift by people like you and I being visible and speaking these truths, and being sexy and playful, and still owning our
Yes.
beauty and our fashion,
Yes.
and
We're in our
right.
prime. Prime.
And what our prime,
In
this
our
is our prime.
prime. Yeah.
But it's not typically honored that you don't ever have to lose your sexy.
No. There's the family unit and the, I would even say, hierarchy in a family. Grandma in Europe is still a big part of the family, and it's
Yeah.
respected. Grandma would always sit at the head of the table. It's not, and the unit of family is different, and eating at the table is different, and dressing for dinner is important. It's a different style. I'm English. I live in France at the moment, but go between the two. But growing up in my family, we always had to sit down for dinner. We always had to dress for dinner on a Sunday. And there's a family unit. Grandma and everybody has their place and is very much valued. I just feel that perhaps in the US, it's not, the unit isn't as strong.
It's
But
not.
it's many other things. It's just not perhaps that.
Right. Well, we typically idolize the youth,
Yeah.
and we see this with social media and, press, magazines, etc. That is the idea of beauty. Unfortunately, that is shifting, with different body types surfacing
Yeah.
and getting visibility. I love that J Lo and Beyonce really brought these
Yeah.
strong, powerful,
And they're in
sexy
their
bodies
50s and they are rocking it.
and
I
thighs
mean,
and booty.
yeah. And you can do burlesque fitness classes in your heels. You know what I mean? I know. I know. And 50s, then you're 30. And in your 60s, then you're 40. I certainly don't look like my mother when she was in her 50s. It's a
Same.
different ballgame. And I think that things are shifting. It's a slow process, but we are championing it. And I think that you've got to keep pushing, got to keep pushing.
With your European roots and background that we were just talking about, I'd love to ask you, what would you say to our listeners who might be thinking, yeah, I'm in my middle age and I'm not feeling sexy, and I'm not, I don't like I don't have the energy, I don't have the vitality, I'm feeling a little lost, or I don't feel comfortable about aging. Anything that comes to mind that you could share as a little tip to
Well,
get
I
your
mean,
sexy back?
yeah,
Sorry.
we're all on the same page. I mean, it's depends on which way you want. Do you want to sort of change or sort of work on the outside to let it feed your inside, or do you want to? They say sexy, or I would say sexy is a feeling, but often that dress, that new bra, that lipstick, that great haircut suddenly creates the feeling that creates the action, Or do you do the action which creates the feeling? So I do believe that, when you reconnect, and it is a feeling, it is a feeling, and it's getting back in touch with your body and whatever that means. And it doesn't have to be a perfect body. It doesn't have to be any certain size or anything. But if you can just love it, and that means caring for it. So if you abuse it, if it's something that you don't like, you resent, well, you make the decisions to get it there. So make some better decisions to get it better. And then, then once you start feeling better inside your body, it will all show on the outside. It radiates to the outside. Or go and get that sexy dress, get your hair done, get a great lipstick, and rock what you've got. See what happens. But you've got to have courage, because, confidence and self-belief are a little sparse at this time. So find a girlfriend, do it together, and just let it go. Let it rip. You got to.
I
You
I
don't, it's no
love
use waiting for someone to give you the green light or give you permission or invite you. Just do it.
No, 100%. I invite all of you to take on my new stance that I no longer ask permission or acceptance for my choices in life.
Yeah, make
And
good choices. Yeah.
and I love that you brought in, yes, that is key. Make good choices, thoughtful, conscious choices. How for the highest good of all is an MO
Yeah.
here. Let me just say that, as mentioned earlier. I love that you brought in the feeling of sexy and how that can be created, because that's what I teach in the Sacred Beauty Lifestyle. There's the upper loop and the lower loop. And when you look good, you feel good. And there's a cycle. And sometimes we do need to create it. I remember learning this years ago, because I too was I did a little bit of modeling. I was super into
Yes.
fashion,
Yeah.
and I was working in retail as a first job. So it's just
Yeah.
so funny, the parallels here. And I remember learning with colors, through the modeling classes and such I took, what colors look good and how to create energy, even if you're feeling tired, reaching for a vibrant color, whether it's yellow or
Mhm.
red, or, and again, depending what looks good on you, or a quick pop of color with a lipstick can be such a mood elevator.
Take that lipstick and just dab it on your cheeks.
I do the same thing.
It's not rocket science. Just, whatever you
Yeah,
need. Yeah.
I know.
A
That's such a
great
great.
perfume. That's a very good
Mhm.
signature.
I have
Smell
a
is great,
It's so good. The olfactory system can take us back to good memories.
Yeah.
So that's or memories, period. That's why sometimes a man will walk by with a cologne and it's like, oh, I remember that cologne. Or like
I remember that guy. Yeah.
I remember that guy. Or a woman will walk by and it could take back to my childhood. Like Ishi
Yeah.
Miyake. I remember smelling that and being like, oh
I
my
used to
God,
wear that.
of course you did. That was a good one.
Yes. Yes.
But you know what? It really is fun to find your own fragrance. Actually, I went to Paris, and there are these, oh gosh, I'm going to forget what they're called now, but these
Atelier.
perfumeries.
Like
Yeah,
an
thank
atelier.
you.
Yeah.
Yes. And you could go into a chamber where they will spray fragrance, a scent. So then you go in there and you're not disrupted by any other smell in the room. You go in there and you smell it. and you can then, and then they let that dissipate or put something else in there to clear it. And then you can go smell another one and really find what suits you.
Yes.
I did
Yes.
that years ago, and I'm
It's
still rocking that
fabulous.
fragrance today, and I'm not going to tell you what it is.
Really?
I get so many compliments on it. But do something. So if scent is your thing, if that, or color or what feels good, if you're textile and you want to
Yeah.
feel a luxurious cashmere or silk
Yes.
item on your body, like that is a great way to feel good in your body, right?
Yes. Yes. I mean, just find those things. Like you say, is it soft knits? Are you
Hmm.
one of those people who just has great feet and loves sexy shoes? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Someone I see women we know with the most crazy gorgeous shoes. I'm like, oh, I just know that woman. She's just, you know what I mean? Or it
Yeah.
could be, accessories. Someone just likes to tie that scarf around their neck, around their handbag, round the belt in their jeans. Find a little signature that you can call your own. A great lipstick. I love that. Great glasses. You've got different colors. You know, it's small, but it makes you feel female. It is an expression of how you're feeling, and people know you for it. And I think that's fab.
I think that is fab. It's like also having your signature lipstick. I have a
Yes.
signature red that I wear that I absolutely love, and I get more compliments on it. And I
You
believe
wore it the other day when we were talking, and I'm like, oh my God, your lipstick is gorgeous.
because it looks good on me too, like it's the color for me, right? And it's a beautiful
Right,
color,
right.
but that's the thing. There is a shade of red for everyone, ladies. For those of you listening, I hear people say I can't wear red, and I'm like, well, you just haven't met the right red, because
Yes.
there is a shade for you. So go
Yeah.
play with that if you want to like pump up your sexiness with your lips.
Yeah.
There's one thing I want to say about the body, since we were talking about it and I brought in Latin dance. Latin cultures are often more open with
Yes.
bodies being a little bit more voluptuous. So if you're feeling like you were talking about earlier, sometimes our bodies change as we grow up a little bit, or maybe we haven't been working out as much and we're not feeling as sexy, we gained a few pounds, and you like to move, it might be fun for you to take salsa or samba or one of those sort of Latin dance
Yeah.
classes that I was just speaking about, because you'll find that your body is embraced more in a
Yes.
culture like that.
Yeah. It's absolutely the case. And I know in Europe very much, in Italy, yeah, and here in France too, people are topless on the beach. This whole sort of the body is adored. People are confident in their skin. And any age, and I don't know whether it's the Mediterranean diet, but bodies are different here. I don't know what it is. There isn't that sort of, you know, I don't know.
Well, I think it's everything we're talking about. I think we've rejected our bodies here. We've rejected our beauty. We've rejected the aging process. We've also had, I mean, let's talk about food. You know food just as well as I do. Like, let's talk about the fact that we in the US have so many, you know, uh, pesticides, preservatives, hormones in our food that hasn't been as common. I know it's shifting now. I know Monsanto has made its way through Europe now, is my understanding. And so things are changing a little bit, but that hasn't been the standard protocol there. And there's
No.
much more walking. There's a lot of walking.
Yeah. There's not a walking. I lived in LA for 10 years, and you wouldn't dream of walking anywhere.
No, there's a song,
No.
Nobody Walks in LA.
Yeah. It's the real truth. It's true. And everyone walks here. I mean, people hike in LA, don't they? They go for a hike. I remember doing
Right.
that a lot. But
Right.
here, the culture is people are on bikes, people are taking the train, people
Yeah.
are, on the bus with their friends. It's that Mediterranean diet, which is, I think, globally the key. It is the best diet.
Well, and the oils too. Like when I think of Mediterranean, I think of the healthy oils too. That's so good for your skin and your brain.
Yes, the olives, the season when everyone picks their olives, the olive oil. Yeah, no, that's key with those omega 3s. And I mean, that's fish. We have a lot of fish here, avocados. I eat loads of nuts that, I mean, they're in, it's
Same.
nothing. We don't do processed. There's fast food is very rarely. Even that pizza is on a wood burning oven, and you
Oh,
you see them making the dough, and it's with the mozzarella from Italy and bufala, and the tomatoes, which are divine. You can eat like an apple, and the parmesan, it's the big, wheel, and they make the risotto in it, and there's just a passion for food here that is quite sexy too, I must say.
Everything is sexy. Everything, that's the European way. And the French way, I always think of like everything should feel good and smell good. I'm thinking of skincare too and the luxurious products. I
Yeah.
used to be a product rep, an educator for a very beautiful boutique skincare line, French skincare line. So
Yes.
I trained in France for a little bit. But the smells, everything should feel good. And so, again, as another little tip here while we're on it, while you're taking care of your skin, dote on yourself and make sure that you don't have toxins in your products that you're putting on your body, but also that they feel good and smell good and that you enjoy the process,
Yeah,
right?
grandma would even put olive oil in your hair. I mean, not I didn't, but I know my mother-in-law was
Yeah.
very much into that, and coconut oil, and it was, you know, herbs and tisanes in the evenings, and things that, just so simple,
Right. It's
but
just
they
a way of
work.
life.
It's
It, it,
simple.
it's so I'm going to say something else about this piece because it's super duper important for the sacred beauty lifestyle, which you completely subscribe to. Like we are cut from the same cloth in this way. And, you know, it really is about uh, like the way that people live in the blue zone areas, for
Yes.
example. This is where you can walk places. You're living in a small town. The healthiest people we have found that live the longest, that are the happiest,
Yeah.
less disease.
Yeah.
Sardinia is one of the places, right? There's also one in Japan. I
Mm-hmm.
believe there's
Mm-hmm.
one in, is there one in California, or did I just make that up? I don't remember the places offhand right
No,
now, but I
it's
think
Sardinia because it's right
there,
here. Yeah.
yeah, I think there are 5 of them. But those are some of the qualities or traits of these places, is that there's community, you're walking, you're riding your bike, you're eating locally and fresh, and you're not
No
overdoing it.
toxic. Yeah, no
Yeah.
toxic
You're
things.
not
Yeah.
overdoing it. You're not doing, like, they have like a smaller percentage of meat perhaps, or like fish. It doesn't have to be like the majority of the diet. Lots of fresh fruits and vegetables,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And that really comes through your skin, your
Yeah.
energy, your
Yeah.
health. That helps you maintain your weight,
Yeah.
your body, your
You are
vitality.
what you eat. You cannot get away from that. The
You really
food
can't.
you eat builds the cells that create the body that you live in. And if you put in bad food, you've got bad cells, you've got an unhealthy body. Bottom line.
Period.
Bottom line. Yep.
Period. End of story. Okay,
Yep.
thank you. We're done. No, just kidding.
But
No,
I swear by that. I swear
I
by it. Yeah.
I know, girl. I'm with you. Here's what I'll say. I feel like you and I could seriously have like a series. We could probably do like
Yes.
we might have to do a part 2. Let me know if you want me to bring Heidi back.
I love
Because I think
I
that
love
there's
it.
so much we could delve into, more and really hone in on the different pillars of what you and I share, which I'm going to
Yeah.
say the sacred beauty lifestyle and
Yeah.
your book, etc.
Yeah.
Right
Yeah.
now, I have a couple of questions for you. I wonder if there's something that you would go back and whisper in the ear of 20-year-old Heidi, what would you wish that you knew then that you know now?
I probably would have said something like, don't sweat the small stuff. You're going to be fine. You've got everything you need. Because I was always doing different things, thinking that the more I did, the more I would accomplish and the more I would get the significance, ultimately, the love and adoration from the people around me. And I'm one of 5 children. That probably came with the territory, you wanting, choose me, you know. So I think I would probably say, you've got it all. You've got everything you need. You're going to be fine. Don't, don't panic, because I have a tendency to panic. Like, I don't know whether it's insecurity or impatience, but relax, Heidi. You've got everything you need inside of you. That's what I'd
Yeah,
probably say.
I love it. I'm also one of 5. Again, another similarity
Are you one
cracking
of
up
5?
here. Yes. Yeah. Where are you in the birth order?
2.
You're the second. Okay, I'm in the middle. So I'm the second to the young. I'm in the middle of the second group of 3, actually. So I'm the second to the youngest. Uh, so the next question I would love for you to share with our listeners. What is your big message? What would you scream from a mountaintop with a megaphone that you want the entire world to know?
I probably would say something like, if not now, when? You know what I mean? Because we can all put off those decisions, those choices, those, you might be in a relationship that you're not happy in. If not now, when? You know, life is
Mhm.
short, life is long. I would always want people to make decisions, take the decision, and take that sliding door moment. If you've got that feeling inside of you, if not now, when? Because
It's
time passes so fast.
it's there for a reason, and it can be so easy to put yourself off. I love that.
I know,
If
and I would even say it to my children. That they'll ask me something, and I'll say, "Well, do it now. If not now, when?" Well, that there's always a way to talk yourself off the ledge. But I just think that knowing what I know now, I would say, if you've got it, a feeling, and you know where you're going, and you see the circumstances, just do it. Yeah,
just do it. Like that's the best tagline ever. Just
yeah,
do it.
yeah.
Right. Oh, you have been so much fun and such a pleasure to spend time with. And thank you for sharing your wisdom
I loved
and
it.
beauty and heart with the Sacred Beauty Lifestyle. Tell our listeners where they can find you.
Yes. I'm on Instagram under my name, Heidi Fossali. Same on Facebook, Heidi Fossali. And my website is HeidiReboot.com. And you'll find everything you need there. I've written a book. You'll find that there. I've got a book club. You will find that there. So, yes, HeidiReboot.com.
HeidiReboot.com, and all of your information will be in the show notes. Thank you again. Such a
Thank
pleasure.
you. I loved it.
I'm Lisa Eddy, your host of the Sacred Beauty Lifestyle podcast, which is now being shared here on YouTube. I hope this episode brought you insights and inspiration to radiate and shine with confidence. Remember to subscribe so you receive new episodes hot off the press right when they are released. And follow me on Instagram for more juicy tips at I am Lisa Eddy. Also, ladies and gentlemen, when you subscribe, like, and share these episodes, it helps me to get seen by more people. And that means a lot to me because I am committed to reaching millions of women across the globe and waking them up to the sacred beauty lifestyle, owning their true power and beauty, both inside and out. Now, more than ever, we need more women shining instead of hiding. When we band together, we are unstoppable. This is how we change the world, together. Remember the sacred beauty lifestyle and get on out there and shine. The world needs your light.